Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. If you're new, my name is Nastasia. This is my fiance, Kai.
Hey guys.
You guys have probably seen him in a couple other videos before, but today we're doing a little bit of a different one. We're talking about college. So we are talking about college, and this is a collab with my friend Kendra. She has a channel here on YouTube too, and we thought this would be a fun topic to talk about because I think it's become way more, I don't want to say controversial, but just the idea of college. You used to be like everybody goes to college, and now it's becoming less and less people are going. And we have a little bit of a different story between the two of us, so we wanted to talk about it. So if you end up liking this video, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you never miss out on a video every time I post. My Instagram is over Kai's face right now, and you can see the behind the scenes of my life there. I post every single day on my story or my feed, and let's get into it. So my story is that I went to a kind of typical 4-year university right after high school. So I went to a Christian university, but it was still like a 4-year degree. I got my Bachelor of Science in Politics and Policy, and you had a little different story.
Yeah, I did not go to college. Homeschooled, it's not the reason why I didn't go to college, but I just knew from the get-go that I didn't want to go. And it didn't make any sense to me. If I didn't know what I wanted to do at that time, why would I want to continue to just spend a bunch of money and go into debt? And I could probably get more experience elsewhere in the workforce and make money as well. So that's just my thinking of it.
Yeah. So he did homeschooling from the very beginning to the very end, so all the way through senior year of high school. I went to private Christian school when I was up until I was in 2nd grade, and then 3rd grade through senior year of high school I did public school. And then obviously I just said I went to college. So I have $40,000 of debt now with my degree. And yes, I have a degree now, but I also have $40,000 of debt. And how much debt do you have from school? 0. And we both have full-time jobs, and he currently has a job that makes more than me. And I don't make like bottom of the barrel either. I mean, we're not wealthy by any means, but I make way more than minimum wage. Like, I make a pretty normal full-time salary, and he still makes more than me. And I think that's something that needs to be talked about. This is not to necessarily sway you guys either way. I just think it's interesting because we are a couple who have 2 completely different stories, and it'll help maybe you make a better decision for yourself one way or the other. So I think what's being discovered more and more nowadays is that you don't have to have a degree to get a job. Now, it depends on your field, obviously. If you want to be a doctor, like, you need to go to medical school or something like that, you know what I mean? But you don't have to have a degree to do just any job ever. And that used to be the stigma, at least when I was in high school. There were very, very, very few people my age who weren't going to go to college, and they were kind of looked down upon. I mean, not by me, but just by people. They're like, oh, you're not going to college or whatever. And now it's becoming way more common. And you were originally, when you were later in your high school years, you were really, really good at golf. Mm-hmm. Like, very, like, excellent. And he was going to go pro with that.
Scholarships even to go anywhere
to college
in
if
the
you wanted
state
to.
of, where I was living. And, I mean, so much so I'm like, why would I want to go to college to play golf if I could literally just go straight to the tour the way the system works? I just need to, get my PGA Tour card, whatever it is. I was like, I'd just rather go straight there. I mean, that's the goal, isn't it? Some people like going to college. It didn't make sense in my head again.
His passion was golf.
Yeah.
And he was, like, when I say good, not just like, oh, he's good at golf. Like, he was, like, excellent. Like, he could have gone pro. And then his testimony is so interesting because one day he went on the golf course and God literally, like, took his ability away.
Saved my life.
He went from, like, top in the state to could not hit a golf ball. Yeah, and so God just definitely redirected his life, and you don't, I mean, we still don't 100% know why, but obviously God had a reason for it.
Yeah.
Because he went from literally 100% to 0%.
I would have met you for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing.
So.
Like, it just, he would have had a completely different life.
And she's worth more than any, tournament will ever give me.
I love you. But, so that changes your story a little bit too, because in that sense, college wouldn't have been essential at all if you were going to make...
Yeah, even if
you're going to go pro.
Yeah, you just got to be good.
Yeah.
And win and be clutch.
And then, obviously, things changed. God changed that plan for you. That was your senior year of high school, basically, that he changed that, right?
Going into my senior year.
Okay.
So I was still a junior. So it was like my summer of junior year.
But a lot of people, at least at my public school, had already picked out their colleges basically by like entering into senior year of college. So, senior year of high school. So did that kind of change anything in your head? Like,
like I said before, like since I think it was either freshman year or 8th grade of middle school, I was all my sisters were picking out colleges and they're homeschooled as well. And I just remember sitting and like listening, and I'm like, I am not doing this.
This is not for me.
And, I was like, I'd rather like a startup business or something, get my feet wet, and somebody that knows what they're doing in an industry that I like. Maybe whether it's the gym or which I still would like to do actually to this day, but or just make some money. I always thought like, well, if you make money,
if the goal is college to make money, then why not just make money
now and to get experience doing the job instead of to get a piece of paper and go there to not really know what you're doing,
right?
Just knowing about it.
And again, this is just our perspectives, so don't think one way or another we're trying to like sway you. But I think it's interesting, like, and also I found it interesting that I'm 24 right now. I usually forget that, but I'm 24 and he is 20. And so we're about 3.5 years difference between us. And we're both technically at the exact same stage of life, like literally. The only difference is my degree and
her debt.
And my debt, literally, my degree and my debt. We both have full-time jobs. We're both obviously engaged to each other. We're both right now living with our parents to save money, but we could live on our own right now if we wanted to, like even individually, because we make about the same amount of money and he makes more than me right now. And it's just so funny because right now the majority of people his age would be in school right now. According to society, most of society, he should be in college right now. And I think that's part of the reason you are, I mean, not all of it, but part of the reason you're so mature. And I even forget about the age differences because we're literally at the same stage of life. Like,
yeah.
I mean, obviously in addition to your spiritual matureness and stuff like that too. But, and when was your first job? When did you get your first job? Like,
I think I was either 15 or 16.
Yeah.
I mean, it was basic. I was just a lifeguard.
Yeah.
But it was still like, there was always a string attached to each job I did. So like that one, I really wanted to be a lifeguard because you got a free gym membership. I'm like, all right, I can work 3-4 days a week and make some coin and work out for free.
Yeah, and then for me, I also had my first job at 16. Like at least where I lived, you couldn't work until you were 16, like legally. And so it was literally the day that I turned 16, I got my license and I got my first job, and I worked at a bakery. So we've both been working basically as soon as we could. I mean, and I even had like babysitting jobs from like 7th grade. So we both had probably about the same amount of job experience up to now. The only difference for me was I had an internship in DC, but it's so funny because I have my degree in politics and policy, and my job has nothing to do with politics, literally at all. I mean, I'm grateful for it because I want to know what's happening in the world, and I think God's going to use it a lot, but not in the way I originally thought. And so I'm working in a church right now, and I love it. I'm glad I am. But I spent $40,000 on a degree to get a job that I don't have the degree in. And that's really interesting too, because I remember going into senior year of college, realizing I didn't want to do politics anymore. But to change my degree, I would have had to start practically all over. if anything, maybe I would only have to do 3 more years instead of 4, but it's not like any of my debt got forgiven just because I didn't want to do it anymore. So it was better in my mind to just get some kind of degree and finish it out, and that's what I did. And it did work out, because now it's just funny, most places, unless again it's like a medical thing or something, but most places don't even care what degree you got as long as you have one. But then that makes me think, well then what's the point? Like, if you don't even care what I got it in.
It's all about who you know.
Yeah,
I mean, I have not gotten a job to this day without an in.
Yeah.
Like, just, I've always known somebody like, hey, a position opened up, or would you be interested in getting a job? Sure, I'll check it out.
And they judge you on your work history and your character and your work ethic.
Yeah, because you can't teach character, but you can teach the job, whatever it is.
Yeah, and so yeah, it's funny to me. And then, but there are some pros too of me having a degree, and I don't want to act like this is just anti-college, because I'm not, but it's just in my case, I'm wondering, like, well, wish I would have waited at least a year or 2 before I just decided what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. But some pros are, the job I have right now, I would not have been able to get without a degree. They were specifically looking for somebody, you kicked it again. They were specifically looking for somebody with a 4-year degree. And that's their right if they want to do that. But they didn't care what the degree was in necessarily. So I'm not here to judge that or not, but I wouldn't have the job I have right now. And it also helped me because moving to Nashville, I didn't know anyone. You were here for at least a few years, your parents knew people, you made friends and stuff like that. So you had more of an in with different things. I didn't know anybody.
But even you Morgan reached out to you and gave,
I did.
It was always.
It was still an in, but where I got my first job when I came to Nashville, I didn't know anybody. It was strictly based off my resume, and that I had, I guess a degree and stuff. But again, that one wasn't going with politics either. And so, for me, I think the only thing I would sway you to do, and again, I use that term lightly, is to just give yourself some time to decide. Like, if you want to go to college, great. If you want to not go to college, great. If you want to get an associate's, a bachelor's, a master's, a PhD, if you want to learn a trade and go to a trade school instead, I don't think any of those are better or worse than the other, but give yourself time to decide. Don't feel like you are pressured to pick something when you're 17, 18 years old just because everybody else is. If you want to take a year or 2 to work and maybe live at home and save money, do it. Like, at least in my opinion, that's what I want to push our kids to do one day, is as long as they have their mind towards something. They're not just allowed to be a...
Don't be a bum and lazy.
Yeah, they're not allowed to be a bum. They're not allowed to just hang out and play video games until they figure out what they want to do. No, you are either going to college or you're working, but you're doing something. But I just...
Even if you're not working, work on something.
Working towards something.
So, like, let's say,
Like fitness, you don't need a degree to do that.
Yeah, like if it's a startup, even if it's like YouTube or something.
An entrepreneurship, something,
I guess that's a type of work. So,
yeah, but you mean like a typical job. Yeah. But like doing something, not just hanging out and waiting for it to...
I guess at the end, have a goal.
Yeah, like reap what you sow, like try. But like, I just think it's ridiculous to expect 17-year-olds who are just trying to pass their physics test to figure out what they want to do the rest of their life. Most of them haven't even seen the jobs that exist all over the world. Like, how is a 17-year-old supposed to know if they want to be a missionary in France if they've never actually been to France? Unless God just miraculously reveals that to them, maybe. And that was probably a bad example. Now missionaries in France are probably like, I didn't know, and I went to France. But I'm just saying, like, I think out of everything, I want you to take from this, like, stop letting society or your peers put pressure on you of what you do with the rest of your life. Unless God specifically tells you one way or the other, like, no, go to college, and you feel confident and peace that that's God speaking to you, it is okay to not make a move yet until you are very confident in the decision you're supposed to make. Because who wants to make a $40,000, and that's honestly a pretty cheap degree. That's only $10,000 a year for a private school. Who wants to make a $40,000+ decision on shaky legs of, I don't know, but I have to make a decision, so let me sign my life away and the next 30 years of my paychecks. So it's just something to keep in mind. So that's a little just backstory of our lives and what we plan to kind of do with our future children and just where we are now. Because I think on the other side of things, I wish I could have heard a video like this of both sides, and then obviously check out Kendra's video. I'm going to have it in the description below, so she can describe her story to you guys too, because she did not go to a typical 4-year college either, just like Kai, but she is closer to my age. So seeing that perspective on the other side too, I think could be helpful for you guys. So, do you think we were helpful?
I think so. We'll let them decide.
Yeah. Even the hate comments get me engagement, so keep them coming. I love you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed this kind of different video. If you want more kind of like college or student advice talk through videos, let me know. I want to know what you guys want to see. So I will see you soon. Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.